Alright, so for this video I'm going to show you how to do a little figure. Okay, so it's important that you look at references whenever you do any kind of like figure sculpting or facial sculpting, and the closer you can get to the final idea the better. So I have like a seated figure with the hands like hugging arms over the chest kind of thing, and so that's why I have that image up. I wanted to show you something else. So, you know what? So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick sketch so that I can, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So having this image is helpful. Zooming into, let's see, the way that the gestures are drawn here where my mouse is, where it's like really simplifying the figure, that's important to do figure drawing. And we're not doing serious, like, we're not doing serious realism here, but we are doing, you know, something that can be considered as like an additive feature. So what I would do is just start with like a Sharpie marker. Get rid of the cat again. There he goes. Okay. So I wanted to do something that was like a seated kneeling figure, and so looking at like the base idea, so looking at like the way that the human figure is like there's a core here, the head would be kind of tucked in, something like this, kind of like on its like hands kind of like thing. The legs would be, oh my goodness, the legs would be coming up. And I want my legs to be kind of bent down like that. And then I would have my arms across my chest. So think about the way arms work. I would essentially have something kind of like this, where I would have one arm kind of coming into another. Okay, so I would have probably a little bit. So what I might do here is just kind of color that in so that I know what I'm trying to do, in a sense. Okay, so it might be helpful also to draw it from other angles. Like I have another angle here, not my best work. But what I was trying to do was something more like this kind of thing. Okay, so that's good enough to get started. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make like kind of like a silly little like figure here out of clay. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, and I want my figure to actually be kind of, I don't know, a little stylized. So this is what I've done. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's a start, okay? I probably need to see if we can get that a little closer for you. So I can certainly like fill in some of this. And what I'm going to do is just paper mache right over top of it. So that's one approach. How did I do that? I just basically started with like a hunk of clay. I want my head to be bigger than the rest of my body because I want it to be kind of stylized. So I'm thinking about, you know, the head. I could do the head, I could do the body, and then the arms. Okay, so I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. However, I did one out of foil too, and that was actually pretty easy. And I did one out of wire as well. So what I have here is like the body, right? Maybe I want to make it just a little bigger. So this is where like having that drawing helps because you can kind of sculpt like right over that. Hopefully you can see that. And I can add the head here. And obviously I'm going to need a bit of a neck. I can kind of squeeze that on. And even when you just like kind of smear it together, it works. Now the more you want it to, if you want it to look like a head, the more you can like start to like sculpt it so that it's got that chin coming out, that rounded head in the back. So the more realistic you get, the, you know, nicer it'll be, but having it kind of stylized is fun too. It doesn't need to be super realistic. So I just kind of keep working it and working it. For the legs and the arms, I just literally made a long coil for each appendage, if you will. And so I can just do this for the leg, bend it down and out, and then I can sculpt it so that it looks a little bit more realistic. Take some out. Honestly, it doesn't need to be like super realistic looking because you're gonna cover it anyway. Felix! Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I'll do another appendage here. I'll do an arm. Sort of the same thing, where I just kind of rolled it out. Now the longer you take to do this, the nicer it's going to be, and the more realistic it's going to become. But here is a side profile so far. So you can see that goes pretty quick. And then I would do, the next thing will be actually doing paper mache.